Welcome r/EntitledParents. Entitled Mom Treats Me Like an ATM. Backstory: I allowed a friend of a friend who was down on her luck to room with me, edit, for 2 years, so we did become close friends, as she needed to get away from her abusive ex/father of her son. In hindsight, the fact her boyfriend at the time would not spring for a place for her to move in with him should have been a red flag for me. There's a whole other story regarding both the father and the boyfriends, plural, that I won't get into right now. Fast forward a couple years, stuff happened, lost my job, had to move back home, literally across the country, got rehired. Still kept in contact with her, and since I could afford it, $100 every couple months, to help her out wasn't hurting my finances, while she was down on her luck. She was back living with her mom, and on gov assistance for a while, so it was infrequent enough that it didn't bother me. But after a while, I was getting tired of her begging me to borrow some cash. Realized I never did tally the total amount, and was shocked to find it was over $12,000 over 8 years. So I basically gave her an ultimatum early last year. Essentially, I'm cutting you off at the end of this year, 2019. You have a year to get your act together. If you do, great. You don't need to rely on me anymore. If you still need help, then I'm just throwing money away into a black hole. I thought I was helping you get back on your feet, not letting you live off me. Whatever the case, come January 1st, I'm not responding to any requests for money, period. Things were cool the first half of the year, but then the latter half is when things went south. First, it was more frequent requests for money, like helping for the initial deposit for an apartment, as her new job didn't pay her yet, or groceries. Okay, critical life stuff I can accept, like she'll need a cell phone plan to handle email and such for job hunting. But then it was like requesting $500 in the span of 2 weeks in small chunks of $40 here, $80 there. Then one time, instead of asking first, she'd just send a money request from her bank, as if I was an ATM, and would just blindly send it along. And if I didn't respond right away, she'd spam my phone, even though she knows I'd be busy working, in meetings, or commuting. A portion of it is on the subway, so I'd be offline for around 30 minutes, but obviously she can't wait that long. Cue the phrase we've seen in this sub for a lot of entitled parents. Failure to plan on your part does not constitute an emergency on mine. Then the parent parts, there were incidents like asking to pay for her kid's medication because his dad forgot to pack it for his visitation. Why should I be paying for this? Not my kid. Shouldn't you be asking his dad? No, I'm not giving you $80 for a bus ticket for your son to visit you. I know you miss him, but I don't see it as a critical expense. I'm sorry, but maybe you should try deferring the visit till later, when you're more financially stable. I'm sure your 12-year-old son will understand. Then the kicker: this past Christmas, she had saved enough to buy a Nintendo Switch. Not, saved up the money to handle surprise expenses, or pay me back. Not that I expect it, but went immediately towards a very expensive gift for her son. The reason she was contacting me, however, was that her ex-boyfriend, not the one from before, I've lost count of which boyfriend, probably #8 at this point, had serious entitlement, anger, and mental issues, broke into her apartment, stole a bunch of stuff like the Switch, and pawned it. Thankfully the police were able to get him, and I believe he's in jail now. However, she's still out a present. But instead of getting a cheaper present, or asking around other friends and family to pitch in, she contacts me first, and asks for $200 to go towards the present. Obviously I declined. I think she eventually settled on a gaming keyboard and mouse for him. Naturally, she used the "ruin Christmas" line on me, which got me really pissed off. Her ex ruined it, not me. I don't really owe her anything. She's not entitled to my money. I'm not an ATM at her beck and call. And it's not like I'd ask for nudes or anything as compensation. Really, given what I know of her family, I'm staying very far away from all of them from now on. So far in 2020, she's still tried to borrow money, but I've held true to not giving her anything. Also never having roommates ever again. Especially people with kids. You both became each other's bad habit. I had a friend of a friend who used me for car rides, a nice place to hang out in, and also for entertainment. I would find fun things to do, and she was always in the car, tagging along, even following me on the metro to events despite my saying no, I'd rather go on my own. Never stopped checking to see what I was up to. It was like I had no other life but her, because she sucked it dry. And then she got violent, pushing me to the ground and saying I fell. Totally gaslit me that I did not feel her weight on my back, even though I totally did. Keep in mind, we are both straight women. I am, anyway, and that's what she posed as, who were out searching for boyfriends. At least I was searching, but she was scavenging by following the guys I dated to their homes after seeing me, right into their beds. Once I found that out, I cut her off completely. People don't engage in behaviors that don't serve them. She will never stop asking for money because you always, or usually enough, come through. You also are served because you get to be the hero, or maybe you also get to complain about how bad she is at life. Who knows? Question, though, do you ever speak or catch up in a way that isn't her begging for money? Does she ask you how you are? Commiserate about your problems? Pay you back anything? Talk about life? Is the relationship totally transactional? She knows how to budget just fine. She saved $200 for the Switch, didn't she? You were just an easy target. Send a sob story and you would send the $sign easier than budgeting. This is exactly why I don't feel comfortable lending money to anyone, even if I feel bad for not doing so. I learned my lesson with a now ex-boyfriend. Don't lend people money unless you have them under some kind of physical contract, because then if they don't pay you back when they agreed to signing said contract, you have a legal way to get your money. A verbal contract doesn't hold up. Best of luck to you, and good job on holding true. Well, I have a good excuse nowadays. Staying with my parents. Both are retired, so I'm the primary breadwinner for the house. Also pandemic. She just exploited my empathy. We were roommates for about 2 years, so did become close friends. And after I left and got a new job, helping out for about $100 a month isn't a bit hit on me. I make enough that I could spend more on games and Lego every month and still have a lot left over. Especially since I'm not a single mom that has a kid to deal with, so I didn't really think about it. She'd tell me how she was going to do X and be self-sufficient, but then it fell through, so that sucks. Or got on Gov assistance, but they won't process and pay her till next week. Can she borrow some to tie her over? So she looked like she was trying, so I thought I was helping someone out to get back on their feet, not feed a black hole. Well, you have been an ATM for her for quite a while, so I don't blame her for still trying. You have some the right thing to cut her off though. I had an old friend like this who I would help out. Turned out it was a drug issue, so my money was basically going to her dealer. I cut her off too. I also cut contact completely. Best thing I ever did. Every now and again she contacts mutual friends and asks about me or my whereabouts, but I will never speak to her again. Will you do the same? Cut contact? Block, etc. I'm a care manager and help people in her position for a living. If you're in the US, she was feeding you an enormous sack of crap, and, since she was asking for money to pay for medicine for her kid, I'm nearly positive you're in the States. Depending on who had primary custody, if she is on Medicaid, her son is also eligible. His medication would not have a copay. She would be eligible for an Obama phone. While that wouldn't give her much data, she could go to any place that has Wi-Fi. There are also libraries and community centers with computer access. Rent assistance, SNAP, food stamps, and temporary assistance are all part of public assistance. If she has visitation with her son or shared custody, she can ask for help getting him to her by going through family court. The one thing I can sort of explain is the switch. When you don't have money, the impulse to spend it before it's gone is overwhelming. That's why people get expensive things when the tax return comes in. It's rare when someone saves it or uses it to pay bills forward. Asking you to help her replace it was uncalled for and a clear indication of the role you play in her life from her point of view. If she's not sure where to start, have her go back to social services and ask for an outside care manager. My program is through the state, but there are care managers everywhere. The role I play is helping my clients reach their own long-term goals. I help guide them toward their own success. It's a cool job, and it sounds like she would benefit from having a tour guide through the chaos right now. I've been treated as an ATM more often than not, and broken payback promises hurt when they come from friends and family. I'm a very generous person to people around me, but I never ever give money anymore. If someone needs something, and I choose to help, I'll buy/provide the specific needed things myself, and be in control of the whole transaction. I'll buy groceries, and have them delivered. I was surprised most refuse real tangible help, and insists on money. Cut these out of my life pretty fast.